I feel it in the earth. I smell it in the air. Much that once was is lost. For those who might remember it, seem to have forgotten. To those of you returning, welcome back. I know it's been quite a while since my last upload, and even longer since the last video that a lot of people actually saw. And I know that was a very dramatic intro. I promise there's a reason for it. And I'm not really doing a regular intro today because I'm not happy with the one that I've been using, and I'm too lazy to figure out a new one right now. Today's video was inspired by a comment I got on a video last month, because while the person who left it did so in an unfortunately rude way, which I do remove comments that are pointlessly accusatory or negative, because nobody has time for that, especially not me. But they essentially asked, why are you making a video about how to draw more? What's the point except to make money? As well as a question I saw another artist answer that basically boiled down to, why are you posting advice for other artists to use? Do you have an ulterior motive? With this implication that neither of us could have possibly been doing this because we want to see someone besides ourselves succeed. Yeah, we're starting the year off dramatic, heavy, philosophical. Buckle up and bear with me. I think I'm having another existential crisis and paradigm shift. That's just what we're going into 2024 with. Now, I could have left the answer to this demand at, some of us do need to make money off of this, and many of us have no choice but to monetize what we're passionate about, because, capitalism. But I did get to kind of thinking on it, and the thing is, artists want to create, right? Like, no one picks up a pencil and thinks to themselves, I am going to put myself through excruciating hours of hunching over a paper or a tablet or whatever for days or months or years working on this craft for no reason. No one does that. We do it because we have something inside of us demanding that we do it, because we want to create. And given the reputation that art as a career has, I really don't think anyone's getting into it as a beginner with the sole expectation of making big bucks. Artists are artists because we need to create. We crave it. Whether we crave it because we just really need to see our stupid blorbo in situations, or because there's some deep, dark thing in us that has to claw its way out, or because we have a desperate need to bring joy to the world, and this is how we can do that best. Or because we just really want to see a waifu in situations enough to create it ourselves. There's something that drives every single artist to make stuff, even if that thing is different for all of us. And this goes for other mediums too. Singers sing because they love to sing, not because they have delusions of grandeur. Writers write because they need their thoughts to come to life. Dancers dance because it makes their body come alive, not because they think they're going to be the next backup dancer for a K-pop band. Researchers devote their life to their chosen topic because they want to know everything about it, not because they think knowing stuff makes them better than someone else. Humans do stuff because something in us compels us to, without a need for an ulterior motive. And the thing is, that stuff I just said, that whole spiel, I've heard other people say it before. Hell, I've heard Adam Duff and other professionals I respect greatly repeat the same idea in dozens of videos. And the thing is, I scoffed when he'd say that. I'd sit there and think to myself, you're romanticizing this a bit, aren't you? I've always considered myself to be a bit of a cynical bastard. Always. even back in school when I was less of a cynical bastard. And with the state of things, it's hard not to be cynical, but on this one, I think the cynical bastard part of me was wrong. I think I was jaded, because the thing is, when you're mindlessly scratching out lines and shadows, going through the motions of making piece after piece that you're not invested in at all for whatever reason, it gets to you. You stop seeing the joy in creation and start seeing just another step towards the goal of scraping together enough cash to get by. But I also think that's not the only reason someone would scoff at a statement like this. The person who asked why I'm telling people how to draw more, and the person who asked that other artist if they have an ulterior motive for providing free resources, they probably scoff at statements like this too. This is gonna sound like the most old man yells at cloud thing that a person under 30 could say. But, friends, I think that irony might have ruined us. Or rather, I think that over the last 10-ish years, there's been a decline in sincerity. And listen, I'm not gonna sit here and say, oh, this is the fault of TikTok or Instagram or Twitter. Obviously. That would be fucking stupid. I mean, they didn't help, but pointing the finger at a single website or app or whatever, that's scapegoating. That's pointing at a symptom and accusing it of being the problem. It's taking cough medicine for asthma. Honestly, I don't think that there's a known cause or solution, but like plenty of other people, I'm willing to take a stab at guessing. And if my guesswork can make things click into place for just a few people, that's enough for me. I think, mainly, people are scared to be sincere. I know I have been. I can clearly remember about 8 years ago now, the first time that I chose not to post a piece of artwork because I was afraid. I was afraid of judgment, afraid of hate messages, afraid of being too open about why I even liked the character that I was drawing. And I remember feeling the same way barely a week or two ago because the environment that I'm in doesn't feel like it's changed. It's really easy to be hurt. It's easy to hurt people. And I'm really not about to get into the whole nature of man thing, but, you know, that phony saying about the two wolves, it's got a point. You can choose kindness or you can choose hate. And whatever your knee-jerk reaction is, you don't have to voice it. Anyway, before that becomes a tangent I don't have nearly the endurance to get into, my point is that by default, we've got the equal capacity to be open, to fear being hurt, and to hurt people for being open, whether we mean to or not. And I think that it's become a lot easier for a lot of people to choose not to be open in order to avoid being hurt. And that's led to a lot of people feeling more jaded, more suspicious, and more closed off. If you suspect everyone around you of ill intentions and ulterior motives, it's a lot easier to avoid feeling hurt when they prove you right. Right? I mean, not in my experience, but that's the logic, and I had to be hurt a lot before I realized it wasn't actually helping me. And I do get it on a broader scale, especially when it comes to internet personalities. We've seen dozens upon dozens of YouTubers and celebrities turn out to have done all manner of terrible things. Scamming, manipulation, theft, plagiarism, and a lot worse. But if we never trust another creator, if we never trust another creative because of that, then what's there left for us to do except cynically sit back and wait for the next one to fall? Or at least take a hard whack to the shins. Or worse, strike down new ones before they have a chance to misstep. Because it wasn't lost on me that the commenter chose my video to express their frustrations at. though they claimed to take issue with the broader trend, it isn't an irrelevant detail that they chose a video that, though for me felt alarmingly popular and viral, had extremely modest views by YouTube standards, about 5,000 at the time that they posted, and came from a very small channel with a subscriber count that hasn't surpassed 3 digits, even if it's kind of wild to me that that many people have heard my voice. My point is that they didn't direct this at someone who's been around a while, someone with success under their belt and income resulting from the advice that they give. They chose a relative unknown, a nobody in the grand scheme of the internet. And to be clear, I'm not particularly miffed that they chose me. Honestly, it did push me to think about this, about why I make art, and to rethink a lot of how I've been approaching my art. Not my work, but my art. Honestly, I'm also sort of glad that it was me who fielded this one, this particular cry of frustration. Because if I were less prone to thinking the way that I do, I might have felt badly for posting that video, despite how many people said it helped them. I might have questioned my own motives or questioned how I come across. Another creative with a smaller channel and similar videos or intentions might have questioned themselves, and it would have made them more vulnerable to the next person who left a comment accusing them of ill intentions, founded or otherwise. Maybe it's just the old man in me, maybe it's having been the different kid longer than some people posting here have been alive, but I'm kind of tired of worrying about my intentions being misinterpreted by people I don't even know. So, why do I create? Why do I make long-winded videos about the ways I found to make it easier to draw more sometimes? Because not creating hurts more than creating. Even when my fingers feel brittle and stiff, because hours spent with images in my mind that only I can see hurt more than the frustration of not getting them quite right on the page or the screen. Because not making art hurts more than forcing myself to make art. And if I can share something that helps just one person avoid the pain that I feel when I want so desperately to shape life from lines and can't, then I'd like to ease their pain and frustration. I create because it's a part of me, and I offer advice to others because I want them to have what they need to share the parts of them that their creative spirit pushes them to. I want them to have the advice and resources that I had to figure out the hard way. So that was a lot for my first video of the year. I really wasn't kidding about the existential crisis that I mentioned up at the top. That wasn't a joke. This just happens to me sometimes. My brain flip-flops and dives into relative unknowns. I'm hoping to make some lighter, less philosophical, more art-focused videos in the future, but who knows? I'm following what my mind latches onto for now and seeing where it takes me. I know it's been ages since my last video, and I think most people actually didn't see the last one that I uploaded exactly, which is fine. That one was pretty rough in a lot of ways. I was just trying to get something out and explain myself and why I've been gone. But I have been posting life updates to my Patreon and Ko-Fi pages. That's not like a cry to give me money. Some of them are marked for patrons only, but that's just because there's some things I'd rather keep to a smaller number of people rather than have floating out in the ether. And you can tell this part's less scripted because I'm talking way too fast. But anyways, I've been trying to share some general stuff for anyone who just wants to know what I'm up to. And I think this about sums it up. So, as always, it is time to offer a massive thanks to my Patreon and Ko-Fi subscribers, especially Darlight Supernova, Spirit of Stars, Miles Mentis, Chamomilian, Solar, Lane, Jordan Kirian, Kakrian, and Future Grave. You can join the ranks of these amazing people and the ones you see on screen by joining my Ko-Fi or my Patreon. Those are in the description below. You'll get all kinds of other cool stuff too. But that is enough with the self-promotion. I will see you in the next one, and I hope you have a great time until then.